Funeral homes used to have a night bell so the living could reach the mortician. Ours rings for the wrong people. My cousin Nate took the overnight desk at Holloway Sons because it paid better than stocking shelves. Quiet work, brewing coffee, signing for flowers, answering the after-hours bell if a hospital called with a late transfer. He let me stop by sometimes after my bartending shift, when the town was asleep and the embalming room hummed like a fridge you forgot you owned. On his second week, the bell rang at 2:14 a.m. It wasn't the phone. It was the brass pull cord beside the side door, the one labeled Night Bell 3 notes, rising like a question. Nate smoothed his tie, glanced at me, "Stay here," and opened the door to the loading bay. No gurney, no hearse, just cold air and the smell of rain that hadn't fallen yet. The bell rang again, even though the cord hung still. 3 rising notes. Nate shut the door, slid the bolt, and tried to laugh it off. We did what people do with things that don't make sense. We gave them a name: the phantom caller, basement pipes, a raccoon that knew music. We were still joking when the phone lit with a voicemail tone we didn't hear ring. The transcription wrote itself across the screen. Holloway Sons, we're bringing in a name. And then it printed a last name we both knew. Mine. I pulled the phone to my ear. Static, a breath. The faint roll of a gurney wheel. Then my name again, but spoken like an announcement, not a question. "Frank," Nate said, but his voice had a crack. He scrolled the call log. Unknown, -00:00. No duration. No incoming number. The third time the bell rang, it wasn't a rise. It was a long, flat note, like a heart monitor that had made up its mind. From the preparation room came a soft sound, as if someone had put a fingernail down on a metal table and dragged it slowly toward the edge. We shouldn't have gone in. We did. Under the harsh lights, steel gleamed and labels sat ready in their neat drawer. On the center table, where no one should have placed anything, lay a toe tag, blank, new string, and a ballpoint pen. Clicked open, bleeding a small sun of ink onto stainless steel. Nate picked up the tag to throw it away. On the underside, in faint, carbon copy letters, someone had already pressed my name, he swore. Threw it in the bin, scrubbed his hands, because that's what you do when something touches fate. We made coffee we didn't drink. We put on the radio to drown the bell. At 3:07, the side door rapped 3 times. Not urgent, expectant. Nate and I stared at each other until it stopped. At 3:10, the phone printed a second transgender voicemail. Arrival Ada, 3:28. It listed a hospital 3 towns over and a route that made sense only if the driver knew the county like family. Nate called the hospital. The night nurse yawned through the transfer and put him on with a supervisor, who said very precisely, "We have no decedents for transfer tonight." She sounded like someone who had practiced that sentence for audits. The line clicked dead before Nate could thank her. At 3:22, the bell rang again, louder, and the side door's bolt drew back a fraction on its own. Metal on metal, like a throat clearing. The mortuary's freezer compressor kicked on, then off, then on again, stuttering like a heart, deciding whether to take one more beat. I put my palm on the table to steady myself. It was cold, too cold for a room that hadn't opened the freezer door. A smear of fog bloomed under my hand, the way breath does on glass. "Out," Nate said suddenly, and his voice didn't crack this time, it cut. We went to the front, flipped the lobby lights to open, as if an audience would save us. He called the owner at home. No answer. The bell rang again. The long, flat note. At 3:28 on the dot, headlights washed over the stained glass in the chapel. We peered out. No car. But the light was there, drifting past, like someone had turned a ship in a fog that hadn't rolled in yet. The side door latch lifted. The door opened 3 inches. No wind moved in the lobby. But down the hall, a cold draft hissed the papers on the desk as something rolled by-wheel noise without weight. When the air settled, we didn't talk. We listened. From the preparation room, the soft click of a toe tag being set down and the whisper of a pen closing. The freezer compressor found its rhythm. The bell went quiet. In the morning, the owner came in humming, keys jangling. We told him everything. He smiled, the way people smile at kids who've seen raccoons. "Night bell's sensitive," he said, and opened the side door to prove it. On the floor inside lay a receipt book open to a fresh carbon copy. In the faint middle sheet, under Received BY, someone had signed my last name in my handwriting. Under Time of Arrival, it read 3:28. I quit the bar a month later and took a day shift somewhere with windows. Nate still works nights at Holloway Sons. Once a week, he texts me a time, always the same, 3:28 and a single word. Arrived. He never includes a name anymore. I don't ask. Because the bell still rings, and not for the dead. It rings for the living. Some nights a question, some nights a flat line, and sometimes, very quietly, if you put your ear to the brass, it says your name as if it's checking the spelling before it writes you down.